Hi, I'm Father Jeremy Hiers, Vocation Director for the Augustinian Province of St. Thomas of Villanova.
Hi, I'm Father Rob Hagan, Prior Provincial of the Province of St. Thomas of Villanova.
And today we are covering Chapter 3 of the Rule of Augustine. And Father Rob, the entire Chapter 3 ends with one catchy statement. It says, "For it is better to suffer a little want than to have too much."
Augustine was great at just nailing it in a succinct quote, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I think of how I feel after a big Thanksgiving dinner, just completely bloated, and it's not really a great feeling. And so the concept of suffering a little want is just a great way to try to live our life. And I think there's a tendency, if we're not careful, toward overconsumption. Was I on the internet for hours at a time? Was I taking care of myself rather than thinking about others? And so I think if we're not careful, we can get attached to things and we can think that more is better. And Augustine, in his infinite wisdom, is reminding us that more isn't always better, and that there's a certain level of moderation and discipline that goes along with our way of life that creates a space in our hearts where we're not so full of ourselves, and then there's room for the Holy Spirit. And I think it's a good way to try to live that way.
It's amazing this chapter comes right after Chapter 2. So Augustine calls us to prayer, and then he calls us to some outward expression of what that comes. And he's basically, in my mind, he's saying, when you leave chapel, don't become consumed with everything. Don't become attached, but rather continue that dialogue with God throughout the day. And don't become overburdened like that Thanksgiving dinner. Stay tuned for our coverage of Chapter 4 of the Rule.